Welcome. You're watching The Moody Lawyer. Justice served with experience and integrity.
Hello and welcome to The Moody Lawyer with attorney Josh Moody. With a rich background in law enforcement and a comprehensive legal career spanning the criminal justice, personal injury, and civil law matters, Josh offers a unique perspective on navigating the complexities of the legal system. I'm Lisa Mosby, your host, and today we're talking about how long a car accident case really takes in California and what people can expect at each stage of the process. Thank you for joining me again today, Josh.
Hey, thanks for having me.
How long is this case going to take? What determines the overall timeline of a car accident claim in California?
I'm going to give you the lawyer answer on that one. And every single person who asks when they come into my door here, it depends. There is no, it just depends. Every case is different, whether it be a small case or a big case. Everything in between. It just depends. Um, I'll start with it depends on your injuries. It depends on your medical treatment. It depends on how fast your doctors can write the reports. It depends on how fast we can get the reports. It depends on how fast hospitals are with with their reports and their records. And then it depends on the opposing insurance company. It depends on the investigation. Are there issues of liability? Are there issues that we need, an investigator to get involved with? Is there additional research we need to do? And then once we have all that, then it depends on how long the insurance company wants to fight it out. I will say as a disclaimer right off the top, I never ever claim to try to even guess how long a case will take when you walk in the door, because it is just a guess. I've had cases where I thought they would resolve really quickly, take really long. And there are cases that I thought were going to drag out that get solved in a matter of weeks. So I am it's almost to the point where it's the opposite of what I think will happen when it comes down to timelines. So the lawyerly answer is it just depends.
Perfect. I understand that completely. When someone hires you after a crash, what typically happens in the first few weeks when the case is getting started? Can we give the folks a little idea of what they could expect?
Sure. Yeah. For the first thing we tell people is make sure you get the medical attention you need, whether it be if you need to go to the emergency room, go to the emergency room, or if you need to go to urgent care, go to urgent care. Follow up with your primary care if you need to, or if you want to go see your own doctor, um, do that if you want. If you need, or if your doctor feels you need additional X-rays or MRIs, get all those things done. Um, so that aside, what we do is we'll make sure everybody knows that we represent you. So we'll let the other insurance company know. We'll let your insurance company know. We let the police, if they're involved, we let them know. We let your medical providers know as well, because your medical providers want to get paid as well. They want anything that they pay, they want to make sure that if there's a recovery, they want to be a part of it as well. And then we also send out letters, to people that we think are involved. Make sure you don't destroy your evidence. Keep all your evidence. Don't destroy any tapes or videos, because we may need that one day. So we do all of that at the beginning, and then we just make sure we have a chart and a file of keeping track of your medical providers and your treatment and all the places that you're going. So that way we don't miss a place, or we don't miss a bill or miss a treatment or miss some type of record or miss an injury overall. So that's typically how we open the case. Yeah.
Medical treatment has the biggest role in the timing of things. Why is it so important to understand the full extent of someone's injuries before trying to resolve the case or move it forward?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it doesn't do you any good to try to resolve a case if you're still treating your injuries. If you're still injured and you're still treating your injuries, well, it doesn't do you any good to settle it. Um, and most insurance companies won't even talk to you anyways until you're done as well, because they don't want something coming up later at the end. So, um, and that's kind of a lot of times people will call and say, well, what's the status of my case? And the answer is, are you still going to the doctor? And they're like, well, yeah, I still have appointments next week, and I have an appointment with the specialist or whoever was like, well, until you see those doctors and until we get those records, your case is still pending medical treatment is what we call it. So, because if let's say you have a appointment with a specialist, say a knee specialist next week, um, and they find a tear in your knee, well, that's just changed. That's altered the course of your case. So if you're trying to settle it last week, that doesn't do you any good at all. And then that's why the insurance companies won't even discuss settlement if you have a future medical date or future medical treatment, in particular surgeries or anything like that.
At what point does a case move from negotiating with insurance companies to filing a lawsuit, and how does that change the timeline?
Oh, so the way I usually do is we'll try to settle it prior to filing a lawsuit. Um, and we try to get to the point where the insurance company they say this is our top offer, we're not going to offer anymore, and then we run the numbers, and I'll meet with the client and I will say, hey, this is where you're at, this is what they're offering, and this is what we think we could get if we file a lawsuit, and this is what's required when you file a lawsuit. You're going to be required to do these things, they're going to be required to do these things, and then let them know and make a decision based on it's the client's decision, and that's why every case is different. Is because some cases are not worth filing a lawsuit, but some definitely are. A lot definitely are. And so it just depends. But it's the client's decision.
And some cases settle in a matter of months, like you said earlier, that you never know and it depends, and you can't predict the outcomes in those cases when it's going to all move forward. What are, besides medical, what are the biggest factors that tend to speed the case up or slow it down? If there were no medical injuries, do we ever see those cases going to lawsuit?
Well, no, yeah, you have to have medical. If there's no medical documentation, you really don't have a case. The damages are defined by your pain and suffering and your medical records. So that's why, and let's just get real. Hospitals and medical providers are not fast with their records, and they are bombarded with medical requests, not just from injuries, but with you know uh, other things other than lawsuits, such as continued medical care, future medical care, past medical care. People need it for when they get life insurance. Sometimes, there's a million reasons why people need their medical records. We're just a small part of the puzzle that they deal with all the time. And then, of course, they're very protective, and they're very protective of their medical records. So a lot of times, we have to go through and make sure that some hospitals want additional disclosures that it is the client who's requesting these records. So um, yeah, if we could get medical records, the next day, that a lot of cases would move a lot faster. But unfortunately, a lot of doctors, they don't even write the reports, and even the only reports a lot of times, especially emergency room doctors and doctors at hospitals, they just check the box and they're just clicking, or it's the PA and they're just clicking. And those reports come in rather quickly. But if it's surgical records take a lot longer, obviously, because there's a lot more liability for them. They're a lot more detailed. Um, so for the most part, it's medical records in the hospitals, and the hospitals obviously are bigger. A big hospital has just tons of clients and tons of reports and tons of filings. Those are the things that drive the case the most, in terms of dragging them out or making them quicker.
How do insurance companies use delay as a strategy, and what should people understand about why their case may not move as quickly as they had hoped?
I think the strategy for defense, with the insurance companies, in terms of delay would be is if you lose interest in your case, and that's what they try to sometimes, and sometimes people do, and they just um, so they feel that if they delay the case long enough, that they'll just take whatever they offer. That's typically why they delay. I think a lot of times that the trickier strategy is, and this is one that's more common, is they try to get you to settle real quick. Hey, we'll give you $500, we'll give you $1,000. I tip it 1,500. Those are like the kind of the standard offers, because once you take that money, your case is done. You're done. And that, again, that goes to, well, now I have a specialist next week, and I found a tear in my rotator cuff or something. Um, So a lot of times if they're trying to delay, they're just trying to get you to give up on your case. But the more common strategy is for them to move quickly and try to make you a lowball offer and accept it, and then you're done.
And if a lawsuit becomes necessary, what are the major stages after filing, and how long can that process take in California?
Very long. So we file a lawsuit. We'll typically get our first court date 6, 7, 8 months down the road. Um, we use that time. Then we have to serve the defendant or all the defendants. So if there's the driver, the owner of the car, whomever, um, then they have to be served. They have to lodge that with the court. Then you go through the discovery process where first, we ask them questions in written form, then they ask you questions in written form. Then you have depositions. At some point, yeah, you'd go to court, you get a trial date. Then you have to depose any experts, medical experts, traffic experts. So those can add to the timeline. But I would say, so after your first court date, which is 6 to 8 months down the road, typically your trial date will be at least a year, 2 years after that. So it's not a very quick process.
So many people worry that a longer case means something is wrong. How can someone tell the difference between normal delays and a real problem with their claim?
Delays are not any indicator whether your case is going well or if it's going right. There's just not. Losing motions or winning motions, or those are the indicators of how well your case is going. When winning a motion in limine prior to trial, that's an indicator. But delays are not. I mean, and delays are inevitable. I mean, there could be a delay because the court wants to continue something. That happens quite a bit. The court will send out a notice saying, "Hey, I know we gave you this court date, but judge is on vacation now, so you got to come back a month later." That has it has no bearing on your case whatsoever. So delays or length of time are no indication of how well your case is going or not going. Things like deposition, arbitration, or mediation, those are the indicators of how well your case is going. Your medical records are an indication of how well your case is. But length of time, whether quick or slow, never an indication of how good your case is or isn't.
Yeah, for somebody who's just been injured and is anxious about how long this might take, what's a realistic way to think about that timeline while still protecting the value of their case?
Well, I mean, it's the timeline is just whatever you make it at, or what your injuries are and what your treatment is.
Mhm.
Um, so, some people heal quicker than others. Some people, it takes longer to heal. Some injuries take some injuries take longer to heal, and some injuries are quicker to heal. So it just depends on the individual, based on everything from age to body composition, body makeup, to impact, to strength of impact, to what body part was injured. Um, some very common. If you sprain an ankle, there's really not much they can do other than you wrap it up, and a sprained ankle heals on its own, right? You get crutches, you stay off it. But if you break something, then you get a cast, and um, so that's different than some type of soft tissue where you hurt your neck, and all they can do is give you treatment until the body heals itself. So that's why I say I don't know. That's why I try not to guess at the beginning, and I tell clients not to guess either. Just That's why I say you have to do what you need to do to get better.
I think I can wrap this whole session up in three phrases. It depends, be patient, and definitely have a lawyer on your side. Is there anything you want to add to that before we go?
That's a good ending right there.
Perfect. Well, folks, thanks for listening to today's episode of The Moody Lawyer. If you've been injured in a car accident and you're wondering what the road ahead looks like, Josh and his team can help you understand your options and protect your claim from the start. Visit moodylawyer.com to schedule a free case evaluation. And if you found this episode helpful, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you know of someone who may benefit from it, please share it with them. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.